Hello students, good morning to all. Today we discuss a very important aspect as far as data analysis is concerned, which is nothing but the dispersion. What do you mean by dispersion? Understand? Generally, we know that because of earlier discussion, the average value is nothing but which actually explains the actual location of the data. I mean to say, entire values are going to be located or what you call focused on which particular value. Understanding is known as the average. Then what about dispersion? The dispersion explains actually the data whatever you have collected. Understand? It is of homogeneous or not. If heterogeneous kind of data is there, I mean to say, if unwanted information is there in the data, the statistical values whatever you are going to calculate like averages, correlation, regression, standard deviation, standard error, there are so many statistical values are there which are not at all going to be exact values. Errors will arise. What is the term I am using? Errors. Okay. So in order to reduce this error, remember that in every data zero error maintenance is highly impossible, never possible. So while collecting the data, okay, when you go for further analysis, we are going to apply the dispersion methods in order to measure the homogeneity of the data. Okay, if the dispersion value is less, that indicates that the data is more homogeneous. If the dispersion value is more, then what you can say? You can say that the data is not that much homogeneous, I mean to say heterogeneous. So first of all, we need to make the data homogeneous. Okay. Suppose we are going to understand the performance of our college. So we actually collected the information of what we call few number of students, okay, and their marks, okay, and we are putting the information like this 100, okay, 150, 200, like overall performance in various subjects of different what we call students. So strictly speaking, this will be considered as a homogeneous data. But if you are including other colleges information, like other colleges, let us suppose that O1, O2, O3, unknowingly or knowingly, then what happens, the information what you are going to get may not be, perfectly revealing the, I mean to say the performance levels of our college students. Why? This became heterogeneous, mixed up with other unwanted information for the wanted kind of problem solution. Okay. Then what is required to identify that? We need to apply the dispersion methods. There are so many dispersion methods are there. Okay. I'll tell you one more very beautiful example. Let us suppose that here two very well-known great players are there. Like the first one is Sachin, cricketer, you know very well. Okay. And one more player is there. Let us suppose that Dravid. Now suppose that I am actually giving information of what we call different matches, like match 1, match 2, and as well as the match 3 information. Okay. So this is a kind of data. So what is this match? Matches performance. Okay. Now let us suppose that here in the first match the Sachin made 75 runs. Okay. In the second match, let us suppose that he made, what is that? 25 runs. Same way, in the third match, let us suppose that he made 50 runs. Now, let us see the Dravid performance in the first match. What is that? He made 50 runs. In the second match, also he made 50 runs. And now in the third match, let us suppose that again he made 50 runs. Now here, the selections for the fourth match is going on. One of the player will be included into the team. And you will be asked to give a opinion whether to select for a Sachin and as well as the Dravid. Understand? Now how to apply, how to get this information? So simple statistical tools you can apply here. Okay? Now all of you observe here what happens. The total of the total players, how much? Now here also 150 and here also 150. That means in all the three matches, if you consider, the total of the runs made by these two players are equal. And also let us apply very well-known technique, already you know very well, calculation of the average. X bar of what to call Sachin. So what is the X bar of Sachin? Nothing but the total number of runs made by number of matches. So how much? 50. Average is 50. Same way, let us take the average of what you called Dravid. That is mean of the Dravid. Okay. So what you get here? Again 150 by 3. So how much you will get here? 50. That means the average is also going to reveal that in all the matches, in all the three matches, both the players' performance is same. Then which player is going to be included in the upcoming match? So dilemma arises, confusion will arise. That means here, through the average, sometimes what happens, you cannot get the wanted information from the data. Understand? Then the next best method is nothing but to apply the dispersion methods. Understand? Now carefully observe here. You see in the first match, what is that? Sachin performance 75 runs. Again reduced to 25 runs. Now from 25 to again enhancement is there. So what is the graph now? So if you see the Sachin's graph, okay. So what is the form will be now like it. Okay, 75 runs. Again came down to what you called 25 runs. Now again what you called 50 runs. Now if you take the Dravid graph, what is that? Everywhere same kind of peak is there. So confusion is arising. But clearly if you see here, okay, from the first match to the second match, the Sachin performance has been reduced. But whereas the Dravid is concerned, same performance is there. Same way from second match to third match, if you see, the Sachin performance has been improved. But here the Dravid once again maintained the same performance. More consistent. The values are like this. What you can say? The more consistent. Here in these values, the values are less consistent. So how to find whether the Sachin is more consistent or Dravid is the more consistent? By applying the dispersion method. That means more homogeneous, less homogeneous. So here you have to apply the standard deviation, I mean to say what we are going to discuss, which is one of the dispersion methods. you can easily observe that the Dravid dispersion value, that is standard deviation value, is going to be less. The Sachin Tendulkar, the standard deviation value is going to be more. Understand? So what I already told you, you have to consider that data for further analysis where you have less standard deviation. I mean to say less dispersion. Is that clear? So this indicates that the actual importance of the dispersion. Very, very important real-time example this. So in statistical tools, now you have to understand this point, a way to use and how to use and when to apply that particular tool. Red pen is there, blue pen is there, green pen will be there, different colors of pens are there. But most of the time in the exam, which color should be used? Blue color. In the notes for writing headlines, all these things you can apply red color. So like that here, tools are available in the statistics, but you should understand which tool, when to use and how to use that. Now here you clearly understand what is the difference between the calculation of the average methods and as well as the dispersion methods. In a single term, if you want to say, the dispersion actually explains about the homogeneity of the data. Is that clear? So after understanding the actual meaning of the dispersion, now we are going to understand what are the various types of the dispersion methods. Dispersion methods. In general, the dispersion methods are categorized into two ways. One is called absolute dispersion methods. Absolute dispersion methods. One more type are known as relative dispersion methods. So this is one more type of what you call category under the data. Absolute data will be there, relative data will be there. Primary data will be there, secondary data will be there, individual data will be there, discrete data will be there, continuous data will be there, nominal data would be there, ordinal data will be there, interval data will be there, ratio data will be there. So data are divided into different types based upon the situation. Again, absolute data types means only on the single variable the data will be collected. Like only marks, like only what you call the salary, like only the sales of the products, like only the performance of what you call the group of employees. Understand? And relative data are such a kind of data. You are comparing one data with one more type of data. Performance levels with that of the salaries. Engine power and as well as the mileage as far as what you call automobiles are concerned. Understand? So comparatively information if you want to know, you call that one as the relative data kind methods. Only on single variable if you are going to get information, what to call that, absolute data types. So based upon the data types, dispersion methods are categorized into two types. One is called absolute data type methods and relative data type methods are the dispersion methods. Okay. Now what are absolute dispersion methods? You know very well all these methods from your earlier classes. The first one is range. The next one is quartile deviation. Quartile deviation. Mean deviation. Mean deviation. mean deviation, next variance, next standard deviation. Standard deviation. So under relative dispersion methods we have coefficient of range, next coefficient of quartile deviation, next coefficient of mean deviation, next coefficient of variation, coefficient of variation. So coefficient means means in between. So comparison. Only individual data, individual variable is there, what to call that? Absolute dispersion methods. Understand? Now we are going to syllabus the standard deviation which is there in our syllabus. Okay. What is a standard deviation? Okay. So here the standard deviation actually given to us by Karl Pearson. Karl Pearson is a famous mathematician. So in upcoming classes you will get one more time this Karl Pearson's name, that is Karl Pearson's coefficient of correlation. So standard deviation is also given to us by Karl Pearson in the year 1893. Okay. Now from now onwards you have to remember that the standard deviation, that is SD, is represented by this special symbol. What to call that? Sigma. How to read this? Sigma. There are two types of sigmas are there. So like one more sigma, this and this sigma. What do you mean this sigma operation? That means activity whatever you perform. What is that activity you perform? Addition. Plus. Now here, this symbol means its sign. What is that sign? Standard deviation sign. So from now onwards, so you will be getting this symbol very often, sigma. But in the upcoming classes, you are going to get one more symbol for standard deviation. Okay. What is that? Small s. Small s. Understand? Under sampling theory. Under sampling theory. So I am just introducing the various symbols. Okay. Now, there is a very familiar relationship between variance and as well as a standard deviation. So always remember that the variance of any variable represented by Vx. How to read that? Variance of x, which is nothing but what you call square of the standard deviation. Square of the standard deviation. So what do you mean by that? Sigma square. So from now onwards, variance of x we denote by means of sigma square. Or else reverse way, how to put? If you want to know the standard deviation only, ST. That is sigma. So if it comes to this side, it becomes what you call square root of variance of x. Okay. So just like any other formula, here also we are having different formulae for calculation of standard deviation based on the data types. Like What are the data types? The first one is individual series type or individual data. The next one is discrete data, and the third one is continuous data. Okay. Now we solve these problems. Okay. Individual type, discrete type, and as well as the continuous type, and I am going to introduce the formula. Okay. Now we go for solving different problems based upon the data types like individual, discrete, and as well as the continuous types.